Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today I'm bringing you a hack. Now, one of the great things that I love about Ellie and Mac is not only the fact that we have amazing patterns that are so inclusive, we also have great prices, but other than that is the fact that we have some amazing resources. Well, first of all, we have these awesome video tutorials for you all for each one of our patterns, but that's not it. On our website, we have some great blog tutorials that give you hacks, give you tips and tricks, give you so much information on there. So if you have not checked them out, you need to make sure that you check them out so you can take advantage of those resources as well. And as I'm speaking of that, one of the blog posts comes from our very own Jessica with the Jessica pattern, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. So if you want to head over to the website and check out her blog, it will be releasing at the same time, and so you'll be able to see more of a written version of what I'm doing today if you want to check that out instead. Sometimes some people like to see it written out better than just a video. So that's a great resource. If you didn't know about that, you want to go check it out. Comment below and let me know if you knew about that resource and what is one of your favorite blogs over on the blog website, on the blog section. So anyway, we're gonna get started. Today we're going to be sewing up a Jessica dress, which I love because it's so simple and quick to sew up, but we're going to be adding a little bit to it. First of all, we're going to be adding a flutter-like sleeve, so we're going to add more volume to the sleeve, and there is a hack here on our YouTube channel on how to add more flutter to your sleeve, so that's what I'm going to be using. And then second of all, I'm going to be adding a little tier at the bottom, so it's got that little wave that the Deanna pattern has, so it's going to be kind of like a mash of the Deanna and Jessica pattern, and I'm super excited about it. I'm here for it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you all the steps of cutting my fabric, and then we're going to sew it up, and it's going to be super quick and super cute. So let's do it. All right, I'm going to be using this beautiful French terry right here for the dress. I've got my pattern pieces. Mine is cut out here at the waist because I am 5'7", so I added an inch to my pattern when I sewed it up the first time, so that's why this is only the bottom of my dress. I traced my sleeve pattern piece here to this piece because I'm going to be spreading it, slashing and spreading to create a little bit of a flutter sleeve at the bottom. So I've got this pattern piece here and I've got this pattern piece here because to create the flounce, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our bottom of our skirt. Now, this is only 1/4 of the skirt because this is just the front bottom half and it's on the fold. So this is really just 1/4, and we're going to measure. And on mine is 14 inches. So I've got 14 inches and I'm going to do double the width than my skirt is usual. So if I have 14 inches here, that means that I'll have 14 inches another side. So it's the front will be 28 inches. Another 28 inches on the other side would be 56 inches. So if I have 56 inches, I can do two things. I'm going to double that width because that's how thick I want my ruffle. You could do double or you could do 1.5. On this tutorial is going to be double, so you can see how much bulk that adds to the bottom. So if I double, I could either cut two pieces at 56 by the length, so I have two side seams, or if I have a piece of fabric that's wide enough, then I could do double and cut it all one strip, which usually fabric width goes about 56. That's a good fabric width, or even less. So that would not work out. So I'm going to do two pieces at 56 each. So that's double in the back, double in the front. And then I'm going to do the length, however long you want it to be. So wherever the dress, you want the dress to hit you, that's how much you want to add on, plus this hem allowance, because you're going to have hem on there. So what I'm doing, I'm just doing a 4-inch ruffle because I just want a little ruffle, and that's what Jessica did on her tutorial. So I loved how she did it. So I'm going to do the same thing. So that's how I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut the pattern exactly just like the Jessica pattern comes. And then I'm going to cut that ruffle at 56 by 4. I'm going to cut two of those, 56 by 4 inches. But obviously you'll have to measure the bottom of your skirt and see how wide it is, and then if you measure one piece, it's times 4, and then plus the 2 times, and then plus the length. So 2 times the width of the skirt bottom plus the length that you want it to be. Now for the sleeve, this is my sleeve pattern here, and we're going to do a slash and spread. And if you really want a detailed version on how to do this, you can check out my other tutorial here on our channel that goes into more detail on how to do the slash and spread method. I'm just really marking my sleeve and giving it like lines because I'm going to open up this arm side. Not this arm side. I'm going to open up the sleeve, and it's going to be wider at the bottom and small and the same width at the arm side at the top. So I'm just cutting these lines. You can make a new pattern piece if you want to, but as what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay this right on my fabric, and then I'm gonna spread out my pattern. Gotta cut all the way to the top. I'm gonna spread out my pattern like about an inch or so on each spot to open this flutter here so that it's wider at the bottom but the same width at the top. Again, if you want a more detailed version on how to do this, I do have a video on here. I'm just kind of gonna be opening it up like so on my pattern piece, however wide I want this bottom to be, and cutting my sleeves with this pattern piece opened up just like this, and then just cut around it. So let me go ahead and cut the fabric and we'll get to sewing. All right, so here is my sleeve. I need to make sure that the arm size stays the same, but we're going to split it open a little bit. And I want to split it open the same in the front and the back, so that way it is even. So you could cut it on the fold and just use one side and go this way, or you could do it like this, which I'm opening both sides. But if you're doing it like this, when you're opening both sides, use a ruler, which I don't know where my ruler went. Oh, here it is. And make sure that you're opening it the same. So 1 inch here and 2 inches here. And then here doesn't matter because this is the middle. So 2 inches will be here and then 1 inch here. So now I opened this one a little too much, but it's pretty even. So now I can go ahead and cut at the bottom all the way around and then all the way around my cap. If you want to mark this top here, this is going to be your center line, and make sure you mark which one's your back and which one's your front. But other than that, I'm not changing the shape of the top of the sleeve. I'm only adding width at the bottom of the sleeve, so it'll kind of flutter out at the bottom instead of doing anything to the top. Now, obviously, you can open this up even more to give it more flutter at the bottom, so you can just spread it out as much as you want. But this is a good spread for me, I think, because I just want a light flutter. So let's go ahead and cut it. All right, we're gonna get started sewing. And like I said, you're going to be sewing up the Jessica basically just as it says on the pattern. So we'll start by sewing those shoulder seams. Now, the way that Jessica is putting this pattern together is, like I said, exactly the same way as with the Jessica pattern. But for the flounce, what she did, which I think was a neat idea, and I'm going to try it, was that she went ahead and only sewed up one side. So it would make it easier to gather the whole ruffle by opening the bottom and just having one seam, and then you have a straight piece, then you attach the ruffle to. So what I'm going to do it the same way. I'm only going to be sewing up together, right sides together, one side of the dress right now. Usually with the Jessica pattern, you would sew up both sides, but I'm going to sew up one side, then I'll attach the ruffle, and then I'll sew up the other side, which means that then I'll attach the sleeves after I attach the ruffle. All right, so shoulders and one side, but I'm also going to go ahead and prep my sleeves, even though I won't be sewing them on quite yet. I'm going to grab the sides. These sleeves will be sewn in inset. So what that means is I'm going to close up these sides, And if you want to go ahead and hem now before you even put them in, you can go ahead and hem it as well. Or if you're going to leave it raw, that's all up to you. I don't know. I'll think about it, because sometimes I like to leave knit raw, especially when it's a flutter sleeve. I don't know. We'll see. But you can go ahead and after you sew this sides up, you can hem it now because it just gets attached at the arm side. I'm also going to grab my neckband, fold it right sides together, and sew that short raw edge. So I'm like prepping everything. And with my ruffle, I'm going to sew one side of it together, right sides together, to create a long ruffle. And then once I do that, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and put in a gathering stitch, a basting stitch. You can gather it however you want to. You can hem it first if you want to. I'm going to hem it later, or even leave it raw. I'm not really sure because, you know, sometimes I like to leave knit raw. But I'm going to sew it here, and then I'm going to put in a basting stitch, which is a gathering stitch at the bottom of this, because then I'll have this long straight piece with a gather stitch at the top. And then my dress, obviously, I'm going to also have the bottom open, and then I'm going to attach the ruffle to the dress. So let's go do all that and come back and sew it together. I'm using a long basting stitch for this, and I'm going to add my tension to like a 7 for it to gather it a tiny bit. All right, now you can go ahead and attach your neckband at the same time that you're attaching your ruffle. So I'm going to go ahead and prep it. We're going to fold it wrong sides together, and I'm going to mark my quarters. If you want to see a more detailed version on how to work with neckbands, make sure you check out all our video tutorials. We have a bunch of video tutorials on neckbands, and there's one that's called Bands, and it goes over just exactly how to get a perfect neckband. So make sure you check those out. I'm also going to quarter my neckline. And then right sides together, I'm going to attach my neckband to my neckline. All right, now I am not gonna put in my sleeve yet because I can do that once I sew the side, but see how now we have an arm side, you would fit the sleeve in there. I'm gonna show you that later. Now what I'm gonna do is work on the flutter at the bottom, not flutter, what is it called? The flounce at the bottom of the dress. All right, so now that we have sewn the one side, we have like this long strip of the bottom of the dress. I trimmed this. And so now that we have this bottom strip at the bottom of the dress, we can grab our ruffle, and we've got here the middle piece right here, so we can match up that middle together and let's start with this side. I'm gonna go from this side and pull on my bobbin thread to gather this flounce, this ruffle, the width of my dress. So I'm just gonna clip this here at the seam. So like this one side from seam this way goes to one side, and then I'll go from the other side and gather the other way. Kind of makes it a little bit easier to gather one side at a time. Actually a very easy trick. Thank you, Jessica. I like this. I might start doing this when I'm gathering long pieces of fabric. That way it's easier to just I'm just working with this piece here first, and then I'll come on from the other side. All right, now it looks like it's gathered the width of the skirt. Now I just have to even them out. All right, that's great. So now this side is done, and I'm gonna flip it and sew it right sides together to the bottom of the skirt. But obviously I just did this side, and then I'm gonna clip it, and then I'm gonna do the same on the other side, and then I'll go over and sew it up. let's go sew this bottom up, then the neckline, then we'll come back and sew the sides and the sleeves on, and we'll be done. All right, now our ruffle and our neckband are on. We're going to sew this side seam. Once the side seam is sewn, we can attach our sleeves. Make sure to match up the seam here at the ruffle and go all the way down. Alrighty, now all we've got left to do is to fit in our sleeves. We're gonna figure out what our front and back, remember I made a mark for my back. I'm gonna turn it right side out, and where the back marks are, we're gonna match that up with the back of our dress, fit it right in, match the bottom seam, match my shoulder spot that I marked, and then the sleeves should fit in real nicely because we didn't change any of the shape of the arm side when we changed the shape of the when we made the flutter sleeve. So we're just sewing it right sides together. All right, now we're gonna go sew that up. I'll try it on and decide if I want to hem or not, and then we'll be done. All right, friends, we are finished with this dress. I love the little ruffle at the bottom. I love the flutter sleeves. I couldn't think of the word. I think it turned out super cute. Comment below and let me know what you think. Go check out Jessica's blog to see exactly how she did her dress, and try it out with us. I am going to be attaching the link to this pattern below, so go grab it, come back, and sew it up with me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.